Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to just a little bit of a different video. Today we're going to be reacting to the story of
Resident Evil.
The reason why I'm doing this because I think one of the main characters in Resident Evil 1 is the main character of Resident Evil 3, which I'm about to play right after this. So I want to catch up on the story just in case if I miss anything in Resident Evil 1. I was originally going to play it by myself, not by myself. I was going to play it on the channel, but Resident Evil Requiem is like a month away. I don't got enough time. I'm not even started Resident Evil 3, let alone 4. So I just want to try to squeeze in as much as possible. I don't want to really miss out on any story because I genuinely do enjoy the story of Resident Evil so far. Even though I've only played Resident Evil 2, I enjoy the hell out of that game. So today we're going to be reacting to Green Links. Shout out to you, the story of Resident Evil 1. Yeah, this video is more for me. Not really for you guys. You don't have to watch because, to be honest, if you clicked on this video, you probably like, I don't know, a master of the Resident Evil lore. I'm not. So I'm just gonna be watching this video. You know, react with me if you want. You don't really have to. This is just for me, okay? Okay. Story of Resident Evil 1 by Green Links. Okay. I'm really gonna
When you
react
think about the best horror game series out,
What the fuck is that?
so let's break down the story of the game that launched a 26-year-old horror franchise.
Damn, 26.
A young woman estimated to be roughly 20 years.
Also, by the way, I know I said I've never played a single Resident Evil game prior to 2, but I'm not gonna lie, I did play Resident Evil 0. I recorded it and everything, but I recorded at least 4 episodes. I got pretty far into the game, and I'm not gonna lie, even though it's an old game with wonky controls and the camera angles are a bit annoying, I did enjoy it. Now, where's the footage, you ask? It's long gone. I accidentally deleted it.
You fucking bitch.
The only evidence I have is this picture I sometimes use in my older video, in my Resident Evil 2 videos. Like, you know, you can tell because, you know, I looked a bit fatter in this picture. You know, I slimmed down a little bit, you know? You look exactly the same, badass!
Years old, was found washed up on a riverbank on the outskirts of Raccoon City during the night of May 20th,
I know Raccoon City.
1998. The police were informed, and the Raccoon Police Department declared that the young lady had some lacerations to her arms and her left foot was missing. There was also bite marks found, and naturally the police determined that it was most likely those pesky grizzly bears.
Are you
The
serious, my brother?
RPD, which I will use to describe the Raccoon Police Department, put it down to an unfortunate hiking accident and just left it at that.
What?
However, these attacks didn't stop. In fact, they began to get more and more frequent.
Oh,
A family
shit.
of 3 were found dead after camping in the woods with organs missing and bite wounds all over the bodies. Now, look, unless Yogi the Bear is having a really, really bad few days, this is starting to suggest that maybe there's a little more to this.
Exactly.
The RPD think that those bite marks look awfully human. A bit later, a third
So was the first victim bite marks not look like did not look like humans? Huh? Huh? Raccoon City deserved to be infected if this happened. Oh my gosh.
39-year-old man was later found dead at a boat mooring station that he worked at along the Mendez River. Now, this river is also nearby to Raccoon City, but is actually a completely different river to where the 20-year-old...
So is this how Raccoon City got infected? The whole infection started not through Annette? Did this happen in tandem with Resident Evil 2? The reason why Raccoon City is infected and the whole thing with Leon and Claire is because of what happened here.
Old woman was found. That was the Marble River. Now, there wasn't much of this guy left. But what was curious was the fact that there was a bunch of small animals that were also found around the area, half eaten, not cooked. Now, shit got really weird on the 4th case. There was this elderly couple that lived up in the Arkley Mountain.
Bodies of the slain elderly couple were found covered in blood with their necks bitten into. Scraps of what appeared to be meat were found in large quantities in both their digestive systems.
Yeah, I think a bear did that.
It's roughly the same area that the other things have been happening within. But these ones had bite marks on each of their necks and died of blood loss. And look, I know what you're thinking. Vampires. It's the only logical conclusion. But an autopsy showed that they each had flesh in their stomachs. So they did it to each other. But the RPD was still open to it being a third party, and I think it's probably safe to say that we can rule out old Yogi Bear on this one. In the end,
Who was on this case? Who was on this case? You deserve to be fired. You may be the sole reason why the whole Raccoon City is infected. Oh my
there were
gosh.
7 hikers and mountain climbers that were found dead within a month. 4 families died, which added up to 13 people. 20 people in total.
I'm sorry, I keep pausing. Is this the same police station as the one that Leon is in?
I don't know.
In a very short amount of time. There was a story going around within the Raccoon Times that there
Some people claim that they've seen the monsters in Arklay Mountains. The monsters, is that near Arklay Mountains? Is that near Raccoon City? The monsters are supposedly about the same size as large dogs and usually run in a pack of run in a pack of as wolves do. This may sound like a group of ordinary wild dogs, but these monsters are surprisingly fierce and hard to hurt. They say the dogs won't bother you unless you wake them. So you smart readers should stay away from Arklay Mountains for your time being. Well, clearly not, because a bunch of bodies showed up. So, but if you're looking for adventure, check it out. Wanna try?
Yeah, I wanna try.
were a pack of aggressive dogs within the woods since there had been some sightings. By the time July 9th had come around, the RPD closed every single road leading into the
Due to successive disasters in Arklay Mountains, the city authorities have decided to block the road leading to the foothills. At the same time, Raccoon Police intend to begin the search for lost people with help of STARS team members. STARS, that's the special force. I don't know what it stands for, but I remember Claire's sister.
Who?
Claire's sister, huh? Is this what Claire's sister? Claire's brother is part of. The expected difficulty because the vast size of Arklay Mountains and the primeval forest that covers most of the area. Also, people are still reporting sightings of grotesque monsters in the mountains. So, what I'm piecing together, well, I'm probably wrong. So, I'm assuming Claire's brother, Chris, and a team of people went to that mountain to like investigate what happened. And while that was happening, you know, Leon and Claire went to the precinct where Chris was working at. So while they were searching, Leon and Mr. X and Claire and Annette was all in the precinct, right? If you get what I'm saying.
Shut up, bitch.
Because there were so many people dying, they didn't even have time to continue their investigations into the previous deaths. So the RPD put in some man hours and ended up with nothing. Not a clue. I mean, some of the injuries were so bad that the families couldn't even identify some of them. But one thing was for sure. People were eating people. And it was happening a lot.
I
At
recognize
first,
that
they thought
it is the
maybe
same
was
precinct.
some
Okay.
cultists high on drugs. The police even spoke to many of the pharmacies and the general hospital to see if there were any patients or visitors with unusual injuries, but nothing came up. So maybe it isn't a cult. In reality, it ultimately doesn't
The goddess
matter.
statue, is that
There's a group
not
of
the same
killers
thing?
in the mountains and they need to be dealt with. But they needed a group of people with the appropriate resources and trainings to carry out such a mission. So the
Stars.
RPD assigned these kills to the STARS, or better known as the Special Tactics and Rescue Service.
I like
the
that
Special
name.
Forces team with
Do I recognize anyone?
No, why would I?
scientific and military expertise to get this mission done. So an internal investigation took place within STARS, and ultimately they came to the same conclusion that the RPD did. It has to be a gang of killers in the woods. So
That's
on
definitely
the
Marvin.
22nd of July, they would deploy and deal with them. The planning of the mission was done by a Dr. Albert Wesker, the captain of STARS. The
Okay,
Bravo
Wesker,
team
captain
of
of
STARS
STARS.
were assigned to investigate, and they left via a helicopter on the evening of July 23rd. All communication with the Bravo team was lost only a few hours later. As a day had passed, it was paramount that the Alpha team now be deployed into the mountains to find and regain communications with the Bravo team and find out
Rebecca!
exactly what happened. Now, this is where you'll find yourself at the very start of the game. All of the previous stuff is found within files and documents that you can find, and a little bit of background dialogue as well. The Alpha team found the wreck site of the helicopter that was transporting the Bravo squad, and upon further investigation, found the body of the pilot. But they were ultimately ambushed by a bunch of wild dogs. Turns out that the whole newspaper theory of dogs being in the woods turned out to be right after all.
Oh.
The pilot of the Alpha squad's
What was that run?
and he took off.
Oh,
leaving
you
behind the entirety
pussy.
of the Alpha team. Now,
Oh.
let's just get familiar with our squad here. We have Captain Wesker, and god damn, look at those glasses.
Okay, he's Wesker.
Barry
He's
Burden,
Wesker.
Jill Valentine, and Chris Redfield.
Okay, so Jill is the main character of Resident Evil 3. Okay, so we'll be playing as her. And then that's Claire's brother. Wesker, you look cool as hell. I don't know who you are. I'm going to be
I'm a Resident Evil fan. A few of those names, if not all of them, are going to ring some big old bells.
Okay.
They see a mansion in the woods. Incredibly convenient. And after being chased by rabid dogs, decide to take shelter within it.
Is this the same mansion as Resident Evil 0? I'm not sure.
Shut up!
Chris is, however, missing, and they decide, like in every good horror movie or a 70s cartoon about talking dogs, to split up and look for clues. They eventually find Officer Sullivan, wishing that he had taken his holiday pay and go on a nice little trip to the Maldives. Instead, now he's zombie food and solidifies himself on our list as the second.
What are you looking at?
Jill and Burden head back into the main foyer to look for Wesker, who is now missing. So they decide to once again split up and look for clues. I mean, look, I'm no special operative or anything, so excuse me if I'm talking out of turn here, but if I was in an abandoned building in the middle of some murder woods and people were consistently and constantly going missing, I really don't think I would keep deciding, you know what, let's split up. Nothing
I
bad
know,
there.
that'd be in like every horror movie. All our friends missing, let's split up in this scary haunted mansion. And then 10 minutes later, you hear your friend,
It happened. No? Just me? All right, well,
It's not just you.
Jill does some exploring and has a little run-in with a bath zombie and finds Officer Speyer dead on the balcony, and thus marks the third death within the Bravo squad. However, not that far away is Officer Aiken, who is actually still alive. Now, he's a little worse for wear, mind you, but he complains that he was bitten by a very big poisonous snake. So he might not be alive for very long if he doesn't get some serum, which Jill promises to go and get. That's when Jill found this chunky beast that caused the bite, and I think big is probably a bit of an understatement. They soon find out that this mansion is full of all sorts of nasty surprises, such as some big sharks, some spiders, and a test subject
I'm cool.
that we later find out to be called Lisa Trevor. We'll get back to her in a second. And also whatever the hell this is supposed to be. Burden gives
that's
it
the
the
spider
old
with the
flamethrower
G-virus
treatment and decided to once again split up.
We should split up again and investigate.
Brad! You dumbass! You kind of look like Frank West, I can't lie.
Yep, you heard that right. Jill has become a little suspicious of Burden's actions by this stage and has started to question some of the things that he's been doing. I mean, there was a scene a little earlier of him speaking to somebody, but Burden brushed it off as speaking to himself because he's getting up there in age. Jill initially...
Is his name Brad or... what is his name? Am I getting his name wrong? Oh, his name is Barry. Who the fuck is Brad? I swear I've seen a Brad somewhere. What's that? Brad's the dude from the ad in RE2. Oh my, you guys look similar. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of.
brushes
Not
it
really.
off, but the suspicion is growing. We find Wesker, who has been missing for a very large portion of the game at this stage, and explains how happy he is that Jill is alright.
Brad evil. He be doing something in the mansion because he knows the layout. So he hid somewhere and did something. I guarantee.
Jill, so you're safe.
Sounds real convincing. You split up. And eventually make your way underground where you find Captain Marini. Now, this is the leader of the Bravo squad. He tells Jill that the stars are being betrayed by Umbrella and that somebody is a traitor. Then boom.
Who else?
On cue, no more info. You re-find Burden and he says to split up again while he makes sure that nothing stops their point of escape, aka the elevator. Ultimately betraying Jill and taking it for himself and leaving Jill to die. And once you actually do catch back up with him, he hits you with what could be quite possibly the worst assassination attempt I have ever seen in my life.
Fuck out of here, boy. Get that weak shit out of here.
Get that weak ass shit out of my face.
Start talking.
Then Lisa shows up.
Ow, Lisa, stay away.
Ensues, which leads to Lisa falling from what appears to be like a 200, 300
foot. She hit that William.
Drop. Burden explains that she's most likely alive still and that he will stay there and make sure that Jill continues on. Jill, for whatever reason, completely forgets that Burden just tried to blow her brains out about 5 minutes prior and agrees.
Okay.
Jill, you're
Jill
way too
finds
nice.
a projector room within the underground laboratory and we get a little bit of a lore drop. Essentially, Umbrella has been creating bio-organic weapons. We see that those very angry doggos outside in the woods are called the Cerberus. The giant sharks.
Oh, what are the same dogs in the
Spit out, bro.
Are those the same dogs in the morgue and the bottom, like near the parking lot of the Resident Evil 2? Because they kind of look the same.
Called Neptune and a bunch of others. Umbrella has essentially been...
Mr. X! Tyrant!
No, that's wrong!
Hunter? What is this? Umbrella, why are you creating this? Like, shit like the liquors? What is that?
A bunch of others. Umbrella has essentially been doing a whole
Mr.
bunch
X.
of strange experiments. We get to see a team photo of the...
Wesker!
You got me.
And look, I don't know about you, but I could recognize those glasses almost
anywhere.
After a bit more exploring through the lab, Jill comes across a jail cell.
Oh, he said Wesker was the head team of the scientists. Whatever he said. Oh.
Cell containing none other than Chris Redfield. He says
oh,
that
there's
something big's
Chris.
Going down. Yeah.
So while this is happening, Claire and Leon are the precinct? I'm assuming that's what happened because there was a letter that Leon found that he said Chris was on vacation. He's like, "What, dude? I'm in Europe with like all the hot babes. Yeah, don't tell whoever to come with me because he's a total chick repellent and I'm a total chick magnet." Then he says, "Oh, tell Jill, blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Who the fuck is Jill?" And then Claire's playthrough, when she read the letter, she's like, "Oh, that doesn't sound like Chris at all." So maybe someone wrote it for him because clearly he's not on vacation with all the hot babes. Could he pull out all the hot babes? Probably. You looking good. I mean,
What the hell are you talking about?
No crap, Sherlock. And Jill goes to get the cell key. You manage to find Wesker again in the main part of the laboratory. And guess who betrays you? None other
Jill!
than Barry Badass Burden. It turns out that this person that Burden was talking to earlier was actually Wesker, and that if Burden didn't follow Wesker's directions, his wife and daughters would be killed as a result.
Okay.
Now it's time for a little bit of
Kind of understandable. Oh, you better shoot Jill?
evil bad guy monologue while Jill finds out that Umbrella wants to eliminate stars, and despite how it may seem, Wesker is actually doing things out of his own interest, not out of Umbrella's interest. Double cross, if you will.
What do you gain?
Wesker plans on handing over all the bioweapon embryos and datas to a rival company of Umbrella. Big Barry comes in and gives Wesker a few rounds for his troubles, and Wesker ends up unleashing this bad boy, named 002 Tyrant. We got to see him a little bit on the projector earlier as well, and we get a nice little evil laugh out of Wesker. Now that the Tyrant remembers Wesker from his time as a member of the research team that messed him up in the first place.
You
So
butt
he
booty
goes after him
naked.
first. Wesker delivers what is quite possibly
So Resident Evil been having these giant tyrant motherfuckers. There better not be one in Resident Evil 3, I swear.
the biggest insult that you could ever give to a newly born embryo.
Premature.
Burden gets a backhand as well and leaves Jill
Did
to
he
deal with
die?
the problem herself. Once dealt with, Jill helps find Burden and finds out that Wesker has escaped. The self-destruct sequence has been activated and it's time to abandon ship. They manage to release Chris and continue their way through the underground lab. They get a call from Brad, who was the pilot that abandoned them at the very start of the game.
That's Brad.
He says to show a sign if any of them are still alive. Jill makes her way to the heliport and sends off a flare to Brad, which the Tyrant shows up again to lay down some more hands.
That's gonna send signals.
Incredibly
Oh!
bad for Burton, who really doesn't make it out of this situation. Chris and Jill escape on the helicopter while the mansion and the laboratory blow up beneath them, ending Resident Evil 1. Now, RE1 has multiple endings.
Chris and Jill.
This is just taking into the account that you get the best ending. Otherwise, it could be a very, very lonely Jill Valentine in that helicopter. We can also gather a few extra details from the files and collectibles that you find throughout the game. For example, what exactly happened in the laboratory that led to the events happening within the mansion.
Yeah, what was Wesker doing?
There is a diary written by somebody that is going through the process of experimentation with a virus described as the T-virus. On the 9th of May, 1998, 2 months before the death of the 20-year-old woman at the riverbank.
Okay, 1998, so this did take place... I don't know the exact date. I know the year it took place in Resident Evil 2, which is 1998, but I don't know the exact date.
A few of the Umbrella security service stationed at the Arkley laboratory were playing poker with a Steve from research. Steve was suspected of cheating. A day later, on May 10th, the writer described being tasked with looking after a new creature that looked like a skinned gorilla. He would feed it live animals and it would play with them until ultimately eating them. May 11th, Scott from security woke up the writer in a protective suit, describing some form of accident had happened in the basement.
At around 5 a.m., Scott woke me up, scared the shit out of me too. He was wearing a protective suit. He handed me another one and told me to put it on. Said there'd be an accident in the basement lab. See, like y'all got like any safety measures if something goes wrong. I just knew something like this would happen. Those bastards in research never sleep, even on holiday. Damn, are you guys coked up making experiments? No wonder they're so weird and they never fucking work.
May 12th, the writer complains about having to wear a protective suit and doesn't feed the dogs.
My skin is grimy and it feels itchy all over. The damn dogs have been looking at me funny, so I decided not to feed them today. Screw them. Bro, they looking at you like, oh, you become one of us. Yeah. Or they're like, oh, you look like a tasty snack. Once I get out of here, I'm gonna take a bite of that ass.
13th, and the writer is in the infirmary complaining of a swollen...
Went to the infirmary because my back is all swollen. Your whole back? And feels itchy. They put a big bandage on it and told me I didn't need to wear the suit anymore. All I want to do is sleep. Oh, you're gonna sleep and you're never gonna wake up. That's what's gonna happen. Oh, they probably giggling at you in the infirmary because they probably know what's going on. Just like, oh, that's stage 3. He about to become an ugly ass zombie soon.
Fallen back and feeling itchy. He was told to stop wearing the suit. By the 14th, they had found blisters on their feet, and when they went to check on the dogs, one of them had also escaped.
Found another big blister on my foot this morning. How you gonna walk? Ew. I ended up dragging my foot all the way to the dog's pen. They were quiet all day, which was weird. Then I realized some of them had escaped. Maybe this is their way of getting back at me for not feeding them for the last 3 days. Damn! If anyone excuse me, I'm sorry. If anybody finds out, I'll have my head handed to me.
May 16th, apparently a researcher tried to...
Rumors going around that the researcher who tried to escape the state last night was shot. My entire body feels hot and itchy. I'm sweating all the time now. I scratched the swelling. I scratched the swelling on my arm and a piece of rotten flesh dropped off me. What the hell's happening to me?
You finna die, baby.
Escaped and was murdered for it. The writer complains of feeling hot and itchy, and apparently they even had some rotten flesh dropping off them. Ooh, dude. May 19th, the fever is gone, but still itchy, followed by today hungry and eat doggy food. The entry on May 21st is a woozy. Itchy Scott came ugly face, so killed him tasty. It seems our writer has decided to begin speaking caveman style, but I do appreciate the continued use of punctuation. And then after that, it's just itchy tasty. So the journal does give a bit of an initial insight into what went wrong within the lab and how the infected feel before they end up turning. We find a will of one of the researchers working on the experiments. It's written by a Martin Crockhorn to his wife Alma. Martin explains that he was not able to talk to her due to the guy in the sun.
My dearest Alma, let me first apologize for not being able to call you. A man wearing sunglasses didn't permit any phone calls. Sorry, Alma. Fucking Wesker, man.
Glasses, aka Wesker. He described the accident at the laboratory and that the virus that they were studying had escaped. His colleagues are now zombies and
The fuck is you looking at?
explained that as you turn, your humanity is stripped away from you. Memories being one of them. He decides that a peaceful death is a better way to go out than a life.
I'm infected and there's no cure for what will follow, except to end my life before I lose the only thing that separates me from them.
As a zombie. And finally, an order that you can find, which was dated July 22nd, 1998, and is apparently top secret. White Umbrella writes to the head of security saying that X Day is approaching, and to lure stars into the head of
X Day is drawing upon us. Execute the following procedures with 1 week. Prompt actions are demanded.
security saying that X Day is approaching,
Beth?
and to lure stars
Lure stars to the state and obtain Bao's raw combat data against stars. Collect who is BOW? Is that like Umbrella's, the company that Umbrella's fighting against? I don't know. Collect 2 embryos of each mutated specimens as samples, excluding the tyrant. Dispose of the tyrant. Well, clearly that didn't work because he's in Resident Evil 2, unless those are 2 completely different creatures. Ensure complete disposal of Arclay laboratory. I don't know what people say. Including all personnel and test animals. Disguise their deaths as an accident.
into the laboratory so that Umbrella can collect some data from the battle. Just how well are the experiments holding up against the Special Forces unit? Collect some embryos and ultimately destroy the laboratory, researchers, and the animals and make it all look accidental. These are the key points of information that you'll find within Resident Evil 1. However, we do find out some extra tidbits and information about the events of RE1 in the Umbrella Chronicles game series. So I will mention them here briefly since they really don't warrant an entire video on them themselves. Also, if you've made it to this point, please let me know down below in the comments.
No, I'm okay.
Fuck you!
In Rebirth, we found out that Wesker survived the incident in the laboratory due to using the virus on himself before Jill and Barry.
What? What type of virus? Which one you got? Which one you got? The G, the T, the E, the A, B, C, D? Which one you got?
Saw him missing. He finds Lisa Trevor in the main hall, trapping her and ending her suffering when the mansion blows up.
Oh my god.
Lisa was the daughter of a family that had been abducted by Umbrella and experimented on in research of
Umbrella!
the virus. We also see in beginnings that Wesker and Perkins see that the
William!
T virus has become uncontrollable, and Wesker decides to change to Umbrella's rival company before Umbrella gets exposed for what's happening with the T virus. Perkins stays behind working on a stronger G virus, but that story is best kept for another day. And that's about it. Again, I tried to get rid of as much fluff as...
Alright, I appreciate the video. The green link. So I got that information stored. I probably won't remember anything besides a couple characters' names. I probably remember everyone's in this team, especially Wesker because he got sunglasses on. That's a really cool feature. Not really feature. What do you call that? I know Jill will be in Resident Evil 3. Will we see Wesker? Will we see Brad? Will we see Barry? Will we see Chris? Yeah, will we see Chris in Resident Evil 3? Maybe. So is Resident Evil 3 after this? Like, Jill returns to Raccoon City. That'd be really nice. That'd be really fucking cool. Alright, I'll see you guys in Resident Evil 3. Yeah! Also, I'm sorry for pausing on the video. I got a lot of stuff I'm trying to connect. I don't know if they're right or not. I'm sorry.
Shut the fuck up!